Hello, this is William McKissock with Scully Mitchell, your expense reduction consultant. And as you know, at Scully Mitchell, we love to promote other businesses on social media. And today I have with me Eunicia Peret, who is with EXCELSTRA, and she's the CEO and founder of this company. Welcome to the show, Eunicia. Before we get into the ins and outs of what your business does, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and how you came to be where you are right now.
William, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you and with your listeners. I'm Eunicia Peret. As you said earlier, I am a reborn strategy consultant. That basically means that I grew up in strategy consulting. I started my career there, always in the world of finance. And where I find myself today is finding enjoyment in delivering huge value to our clients.
Yeah.
Identifying where is money hiding, which I know is very close, near and dear to your heart as well.
Yes.
We take the approach at it through the tax, wealth optimization, and legacy planning exit strategies. And on a personal note, I'm a mom. I am an amazing human being. I'd like to think so, that loves to spend time with loved ones. I just really enjoy whenever I get a chance to spend time with my family, spend time with friends. And I also am a very huge believer for we also need time to ourselves. And I've discovered that as an entrepreneur, as a leader, many, many years into my career, that without giving ourselves permission to being a leader is not as robust. So I really enjoy doing that as well.
Thank you thank you for giving the viewers a little bit of a background view into who you are. So tell us, you mentioned finances and consulting there. So tell us a little bit more about what your business does for other businesses and how you can help them.
Absolutely. So EXCELSTRA is a wealth strategy consulting firm. At the core of what we do, we come in and we help business owners, entrepreneurs figure out how do they retain more money through the three lenses that I mentioned earlier. Tax minimization. The tax code was not written to be interpreted by the faint of heart. It's got over 2,000 pages. And because of that, the tax strategies that we work with and we work on with our clients are very much focused on figuring out how do we leverage the tax code in such a way where business owners can actually keep more of their money so that they can reinvest back into the business, back into their life, and even in the economy. The other thing that we do with our clients is we focus on where does money get left to chance when it comes to growth. We know that everybody has a financial advisor, everybody has a CPA, and that's amazing. The type of clients that we work with, however, even though they have the team members on their team, what they're finding is that they've outgrown the support that the traditional financial advisory world and wealth management can provide. Where we come in is we look at where are their potential inefficiencies that as they continue to scale can be realigned in order to capitalize on money that would otherwise be potentially lost to fees and different things that are baked in some of the financial products. And then last but not least, the third pillar for us is one that has come in as being huge for our clients, focused on either for business owners, the exit strategies. How do we think about maximizing a company's exit, as well as for individuals that are either looking to retire or looking to exit from their company, not because of sale, but just truly to retire? How do we make sure that future streams of income are there to support the legacy and, very importantly, lifestyle? Now, I want to mention that on the exit strategies, a lot of individuals, if they're listening, entrepreneurs will think, well, they work with an investment banker or they work with a venture capital, whomever they may be. Our approach is very different than the traditional valuation approach. Our approach is focused to say, what are some of the intangible value assets, ideas, developments within a company that could potentially carry huge value as part of a transaction, value that the purchasing party is not going to necessarily want to shine the light on, because if they did, they would have to pay more for their company. And generally what we're finding across all of the pillars is when we work with clients, it gives us the opportunity to truly partner, not just with them, with their broader financial team. And as a result, most of our clients see benefits to the tune of millions of dollars.
Fantastic. So if you're watching this, get in touch with Eunicia. Her details are underneath her portion of the video. If you want to keep more of your money, we love businesses keeping more of their money. This is what Eunicia does and what it's all about. So you work across the United States. Do you work across the globe? Do you work with companies in any part of the world, or is it just particularly North America?
Because of the tax strategies and the heavy reliance on the US systems, whether it be from an investments perspective, whether it be truly from a tax standpoint, a lot of the companies that we work with are US based or companies that have distribution or activity in the United States. That being said, we've worked with clients from across the globe, clients and individuals that really wanted to take the core ideas that we work with to then take them back to their experts in the respective countries to say, okay, how can they take what we do and replicate it on their end overseas?
And I presume, like us at Scully Mitchell, you work with businesses of all shapes and sizes in all industries.
Yes, we do. Typically, on most of our client base, if we're talking about business owners, we're looking at business owners that are running companies between 3 and 60, $70 million. If we're looking at if we're looking at executives, highly compensated individuals such as physicians, attorneys, surgeons, executives, typically the household income of the families that we work with is in the range of $500,000 and higher. That's strictly W-2 speaking. If we're talking about businesses, it's typically in the $3 million range and higher.
So, what is like a typical day in the life of working with you? If my business wanted to work with your organization, what does it look like, kind of like from start to moving forward into actually working with you? In a kind of, I'm assuming this is over a long term basis.
It is. Most of our clients, we start with a year-long consulting engagement that
Yeah.
is very much focused on addressing the needs across each one of the pillars that I discussed earlier. And as you can imagine, individuals, when they come to us, business owners have different needs. Some are, we need to focus immediately on the tax component. Some, depending on what's happening in their life, might need to, for example, we're bringing on a client right now who invested in a in a high-tech medical device company, and they're in the process of potentially never seeing that money again. And so for them, from an investment standpoint, as they're looking to invest in other ventures, the question is, how are we going to treat that money in order for them to at least capitalize on that loss? Because it's a pretty significant loss. So for them, we're talking about the investment side. If somebody's in the process of looking at the exit strategies, what we prioritize that. So basically what we do is when the client comes in, we know with a very clear accuracy, what is the domino effect? What is the first piece that needs to move that will make all of the other pieces move sequentially and move with purpose. And so because of that, it gives us the ability to do a few things. Number one, ease the time that's required for the client to be involved, because a lot of the work is done behind closed doors, and then the client, of course, participates in the meetings where they should be. The other thing that it helps us do is it helps us make sure that we get through a lot of the noise that otherwise the individuals would have to decipher for themselves. I'll give you an example. Last night, I was talking to a surgeon who said, Eunicia, I'm very smart. I have an MBA. I've been looking at our finances for the last several years, and there are certain things that I don't understand how to do. And because of that, the idea was they're still, as a household, they're still paying more than a third of this individual's salary in taxes. And the question was, how do we go about that? Well, they have rental properties, they have other types of investments, and there are a lot of different things that from a tax standpoint, as an example, they had no idea they could do to, first of all, minimize taxes. And then the other side is they got faulty information from their CPA and from some of the other people that they work with, including, by the way, AI. And so what we're doing is when we come in, we're able to decipher and provide a client with visibility into pros, cons, good and bad, so that at the end of the day, the client can rest with a high level confidence that nobody is positioning them because there's something in it for that particular party. Rather, everything that gets done, we start bringing the entire financial team together to ensure that everybody is acting towards the benefit of the client and not for their own benefit. So huge, huge opportunities for the client. The ultimate idea is let's make it easy, because we have to celebrate where they're at. They've achieved a lot. They've achieved more than the majority of the population in the country. And this is their opportunity to, as I call it, elevate perfection. So let's elevate perfection and have some fun. That's our motto.
Yeah, well, at Scully Mitchell, we like to help businesses keep more of their hard-earned profits. You're doing exactly the same thing, but in a completely different area. If you're looking to keep more of your hard-earned tax dollars, like hard-earned money, and rather than paying them in taxes, and making sure your business is as streamlined as possible from a tax perspective, I recommend you reach out to Eunicia. Her details are underneath her portion of the video. This has been an eye opener for me. As well. Obviously, you and I talked before when you gave me an interview. This has been an eye opener to learn a little bit more about what you actually do for a living. Because I know that you do these amazing interviews where you promote other businesses across social media, which you've done for me, which is fantastic. One question before we finish: is there any nuances state by state, or is it all you're looking at like federal taxes, or do you talk about state taxes and how it's different from each state?
Absolutely. State taxes do come into play. Obviously, the states are going to want to get their money regardless of what things are happening on the federal side.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, there are different things that can be done at the state side, at the state level as well. And that's where having a team that understands not just because they know it all, but rather understands where can they look, what are the different things that are disposable and available to that client is huge. Perfect example, we did a project that number one was a huge investment for the company, for one of our clients. And on the other side, it came with some really nice tax benefits as well. And the question was, should we look at it and doing this project? The client lived in the state of California. That's where their business is conducted as well. Would it make more sense to have the project in California versus somewhere else in the United States? And so what we did as part of our due diligence process for every single decision, we involved the CPA, we involved the broader financial team, and we said, including, by the way, tax attorneys, to say, if we're looking at this, where does this need to be executed? And the answer for that particular client was California, because it had some additional intrinsic savings as well. So it absolutely matters, and that's where when individuals are being told, especially by their team, you can't do that, you can't do the other. That's where my guidance is. If you feel like you're asking a question and you're not being met with an answer that is in response to your question, rather it feels like a brush off, that's where you need to start asking questions. I'll give you a perfect example, William, and if you're listening to this, a lot of individuals that own real estate property will say that they're told by the CPAs that unless you are a real estate professional, meaning you have a real estate license, you cannot be you do not qualify as a real estate professional. And that's a huge misunderstanding for a lot of individuals. There are tests, there are specific things that the IRS code requires for an individual to be treated and acknowledged as a real estate professional. And by the way, it does not mean that that individual necessarily has to have the real estate license. So now you can see how someone that owns a real estate portfolio, because the CPA said, no, this is what you need to do. Now they're chasing their tail, getting a real estate license that they're probably never going to need to do what? To be able to say that they're a real estate professional when that's what they do every single day. And so those are the kind of things that we have conversations with clients. Life shouldn't be harder. It should be easier, and we should have fun making money and living life.
This is an absolute eye opener. Again, reach out to Eunicia, her portion of the video. You can see that she not only helps you save money, but she helps you do things the right way that works for your business. The real estate example, Eunicia, was fantastic. So thank you very much for coming in the show. My interviews are very short and sweet and to the point. I really appreciate having you and your wonderful insights into what you do in helping people and businesses reduce the tax load.
I appreciate it, William. I appreciate you having me on the show. And as you're listening to this, when you do reach out to me or to us as a company, please let us know that you heard about it here on the show with William.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your input there. I'm now going to hand it over to Dave for the weather.